Welcome back to the ISL playoffs for losers bracket, the Ahealy Cup. This week we're playing wrillix. We played him week 9 in Generation 8. So I'll go through all 3 teams again at the beginning, and then we'll go through the games. So first we're looking at Generation 6. Wasn't feeling too great about this one. It felt like dealing with his fast Pokemon was going to be a problem. Greninja, Sceptile, and Mienshao. So I wanted Shuckle for Sticky Webs. But he has a good spinner in Donphan, and he's also got Magic Bounce on Satō to help deal with Sticky Web. But I don't think I found a smooth Pokemon that I really liked. Even if I had like Scarf Starmie with if Sceptile switches in and gets a Lightning Rod special attack boost, it gets really scary. So we brought Shuckle. We did it anyway. We got Sticky Web. We got Infestation, Encore, and Toxic. I decided I wasn't going to lead with him, in case he tries to lead, because if he saw Shuckle, he'd probably lead with something with Taunt, so I couldn't Sticky Web. I guess I could Mental Herb. But anyway, I also didn't want to click Sticky Web on anything that could switch in case Satō switches in. So I wanted to use Infestation to get something, trap something in with me, and then I could click Sticky Web without fear of Satō coming in and bouncing the Sticky Web onto my side of the field. We've got Encore, in case I'm inverse Donphan, and I can lock it into Rapid Spin. And we've got Toxic. So ideally I would Toxic Donphan, Encore into Rapid Spin, and then it would be faster than me, so it would Rapid Spin. I'd get up Sticky Web, and then it would take Toxic damage. So I would end up with Sticky Web. We've got Bisharp. I'm a Soltfest for... What am I a Soltfest for? I think for Greninja, maybe. Actually, probably Mega Sceptile. I think just to take a stray special hit and deal damage back. Pursuit is to try to get damage on Metagross. I've got a little bit of speed. That's in case Sylveon or Metagross is trying to speed creep me. Next we've got Gardevoir. I thought his switch into Gardevoir would be Metagross, so I've got Will-O-Wisp to try to hit Metagross when it switches in. Got Hyper Voice and Psyshock again, and we've got Shadow Ball to hit Metagross. I had Trace for a bit before I decided on Synchronize. He's got a couple cool abilities on his team, like I think he's got Levitate and like Clear Body on Metagross. Even like Sturdy on Donphan, I guess. But since I'm Mega Evolving, I feel like it wouldn't really help me out. Synchronize would help if I switch into a status move, and Mega Evolve. And with this max speed, we're faster than max speed Rotom. Bringing back Nidoking. I needed Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Ice Beam, and I didn't really need a 4th move, so I thought about Substitute. I decided I didn't want to give up health, I'd rather be able to take a hit. We went for Super Fang to try to wear something down when it switches in, and then I could either hit it with my best move, or Gardevoir would be able to take care of it later. And I'm faster than max speed Metagross. We got Ferrothorn to try to take on Greninja. Max special defense for any water moves or like Dark Pulse. And we've got a Chople Berry for low kick. Power Whip is to hit Greninja. Gyro Ball hits... I think it hits Sceptile pretty well. And then we've got Spikes. If I could get a Spike down if Satō's gone, that would be really good. And Leech Seed is to try to recover some health back. And last is Starmie. This is my Metagross answer. Rapid Spin to get rid of any hazards. Recover for healing. Natural Cure in case I get Thunder Waved or Statused. Scald is to try to burn Metagross or maybe Meanshao. And then Toxic is to catch a Sylveon or a Rotom Wash that switches in. Next we've got Gen 7. So what I noticed first is that he doesn't really have any hazard removal. Landorus and Ribombee both learn Defog. I kind of forgot Landorus High learned Defog, because I don't think I've ever seen it use it, but it could. And then Ribombee probably wouldn't, because if you bring Ribombee, you probably want to use Sticky Web, and you wouldn't want to defog away your own Sticky Webs. So I decided I wanted to get up some hazards. And the second thing I noticed is that Heracross is slower than his entire team, except for Bisharp. So I thought about maybe Trick Room with Uxie to then U-turn. We're bringing like a Granbull. Or maybe a Tailwind on Silvally. Or Thunder Wave and Glare from Superior to try to get Heracross faster than everything. But it seemed like a lot, so I ended up deciding against Heracross for once. We brought Frostlass for the hazards. This was my lead. I was going to taunt against something. I think against Keldeo, maybe. Yeah, because I am faster. I'm faster than Keldeo. And I don't want it getting substituted from mind. So, yeah, so I could taunt that. I could taunt Quillfish. I could taunt Mesprit. And then most other things I would spike on. And I've got a Focus Sash, so I can always survive a hit. Icy Wind, I think, was mostly for Landorus, in case it was Scarf. I'd be able to Icy Wind, turn 1, find out if it was Scarf, and then spiked. I'm faster than most of his team, so I've got Destiny Bond to try to take someone else out after I'm at low health. We've got Zeraora, we've got a bulky set, we've got Assault Vest. This was to try to take on Mega Manectric. So we've got Volt Switch just to switch around, knock off any held items like a Leftovers. Hidden Power Ice is for Landorus and Haxorus, but mostly Landorus, since I outspeed it. And then we brought Endeavor. So, since I'm bulky, the idea is to take some hits, get down to a lowish health, and then since I'm faster than everything, I'll be able to Endeavor before they knock me out and get them to low health. And that's to help out Superior. We got Choice Scarf Superior, so it'll outspeed everything. And my goal is to Leaf Storm everything. Pretty sure most things die to 2 Leaf Storms. If it tries to switch in and then takes a +2 Leaf Storm after that. I think like Haxorus, Ribombee, and maybe Bisharp can survive that. But with the spikes, it gets a bit scary for them. So that was my main goal. Just Leaf Storm everything. Try to weaken everything for Superior, and then quick Leaf Storm as much as I can. We got Dragon Pulse, Choice Scarf, so I would be faster than a +1 Haxorus if a Dragon dances. That's what Dragon Pulse is for. Got Glare, because it's a good move. And then Defog, because I didn't really need anything else. We're bringing Silvally, so we're finally bringing all of my Gen 7 Pokemon, bringing the last two. So I was looking at Silvally and I realized it can be really bulky. And it's also decently fast. So I've got Ice Beam and Multi-Attack Ground to deal damage to most things. Like, Multi-Attack Ground is good against Manectric. Ice Beam hits Haxorus and Andorus. And Multi-Attack's also good against Bisharp and Quillfish. I've got Toxic for Mesprit. I was thinking about Parting Shot. I forget why I decided on U-turn. I think there was a reason, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, this is what we decided on for Silvally. We've got a Yuxi to take on Keldeo for max special defense. It resists that fighting move that hits defense, something sword. I don't remember if it's Secret Sword or Sacred Sword. But we resist that, and then we're max special defense to take any of his water moves. Since we're Levitate, we can also take a hit from Landorus pretty well. So we're gonna try to get up Stealth Rock with Yuxi. Psyshock is to break a substitute on Keldeo. We've got Yawn to try to get him to switch around and take more hazards, and then U-turn. And last is Heatran. The Choppleberry I think is mostly for a hidden power fighting, or a low kick from Bisharp. But we've got Magma Storm, because he doesn't have too many good switches into that. We've got Earth Power for Chandelure, since it can be immune to fire moves. And then we've got Lava Plume for an accurate fire move. We've got Stealth Rock here too. Alright, and our last team for Generation 8. This is the matchup we played in the regular season. So Jellicent was the biggest problem when we played the first time. So I wanted to make sure I had answers for that. So we're starting with Scizor. I think it's the same set to take on Kyurem. Bullet Punch to deal with Kyurem and maybe Florges. We got Roost to heal up, U-turn to switch out, and Defog to get rid of hazards. We're bringing Virizion again. Very similar set. I dropped X-Scissor for a substitute. He didn't bring Celebi last time, and just hoped he wouldn't bring it again. So I got a substitute to try to set up on Jellicent, so I would avoid Will-O-Wisp, and then I should be able to take a Hex or two and set up. Clefable is a little different. We went Magic Guard this time. Hopefully Scizor would be able to take on a physical Kyurem, and with Bullet Punch, I think it should be able to. It resists Ice and Dragon, and I don't know what other good physical moves it gets to hit Scizor. So we've got Moonblast to hit Kyurem, but also just it's a decent stab move. We got Wish to try to heal someone else up, especially Dragalge or Landorus. Soft Boiled to heal me, and Sleuth in case Cinderace or Kyurem isn't heavy-duty boots. Bringing Landorus again. Bit of a different set. Instead of max defense, I'm max attack. We brought Knockoff to hit Jellicent. At +2, I think he might kill everything except Skarmory. But even then, after Smackdown, Skarmory doesn't want to stay in on an Earthquake. So we're looking at Landorus to use Earthquake as much as he can this game. We're bringing Dragalge over Delphox this game, this time. Mostly to deal with Florges. It's also an okay switch to Cinderace, since it resists fire and fighting. If it wants to go for like high jump kick, it resists U-turn. So we brought Toxic Spikes to try to get Jellicent to be poisoned. Thunderbolt to hit Jellicent, even though it doesn't do that much. I want to say it does like 30 to Jellicent. It's really not as much as I would hope. But with Poison, it'll rack up. Then we've got Draco Meteor with Sludge Wave to hit Florges if it switches in. And last is Necrozma. I was thinking about a couple of different sets for Necrozma. I think I thought about a Dragon Dance set at one point. And I almost settled on, I think, the same set I brought last time with Calm Mind. But I decided against it and went with this Power Herb set. I got Autotomized to double my speed. I don't know what exactly I'm trying to outspeed with 140 speed. Oh no. I'm faster than max speed Jellicent if it doesn't have a boosting nature. And then at +2 I'll outspeed Cinderace. As bulky as I can to get a chance to set up. And we've put the rest into special attack. So the idea is to use Meteor Beam, get the +1 and attack. Attack the same turn because of the Power Herb. And then Photon Geyser hits most things. Heat Wave hits Celebi and Skarmory. So then the only real thing in the way would be potentially a Skuntank. But that's our 3 teams. And wrillix had the higher seed, so he got to pick the first generation play for game 1. And he picked Generation 8. Here we go, Game 1 in Generation 8. This is a rematch of our Week 9 game. I switched out Delphox for Dragalge, and it looks like he brought the same 6. So I led Scizor, in case he led Kyurem again. He didn't, so we're switching to Landorus. He does go for Fire Blast. Luckily we don't get burnt. And now I think I can Earthquake, but I go for Knockoff. And we hit Jellicent. Oops. So we hit Jellicent, get rid of its leftovers, and another Knockoff will kill, so he's going to switch out. So I'm going to go for Knockoff again. And I believe we hit Skarmory and get rid of its Rocky Helmet. Yeah. So we smack down. So now Earthquake is free. Everything gets hit by Earthquake on his team. And we end up taking out Jellicent on turn 5. Probably the biggest problem last game, and it's already gone, so that's good for us. Kyurem comes in. We go to Scizor. He makes a good switch to Cinderace. And we bring in Dragalge. We find out that Cinderace is banded. So, he's doing a lot. We do Draco Meteor, which doesn't do much to Skarmory. but I think we just switch here. Oh no, I get the toxic spikes up to try to hit Cinderace, since we know it's not Boots. But we go Scizor here. He makes another good switch to Skuntank on Scizor. We go back to Landorus. He switches again, expecting Landorus. I think he switches again, yeah, on Cinderace, expecting Scizor. So some really good switching on his part. And now Dragalge can't take another Pyro Ball. We get Landorus in, Intimidate, so we don't take too much from Pyro Ball, and he ends up missing. But I think we just Earthquake here. Oh, knockoff. I was trying to get rid of the band, I think. Since it's doing so much damage. And we knock off Kyurem's Choice Specs. So I think at this point, I decided he probably brought the same team as last time, since it looks like 4 Pokemon so far are exactly the same. So that's what I'm expecting at this point. But we go back to Scizor, he switches to Cinderace again, and gets another Pyro Ball off. Yeah, good thing that other one missed. I wouldn't have been able to switch in if it hadn't. Yeah, I would have had to sack Dragalge, get another Intimidate. So that was a very lucky miss a couple of turns ago. Okay, Clefable, max defense, so I would be able to survive a hit. Get up Stealth Rocks, again, because we know they're not Boots. Garmy defogs, and we get some more leftovers. I think I smacked down this turn. Yeah. So Kyurem's 1 hit away from going down. We go Fable this time, in case he doubles to Cinderace again. But he just attacks. Get a little bit of health back. Switching to Scizor in case he keeps attacking. And again, we're switching to Landorus on Skuntank. Yeah, we go Earthquake, knock him out. Here's Cinderace, so we sacrifice Dragalge. He can't take another hit. And I don't know if it was at this point or a little earlier, I realized Pyro Ball only has 8 power points. You can only use it 8 times. So we have a real chance of stalling him. Well, not stalling, but getting him to use all 8, and then he becomes significantly less threatening. But I bring in Necrozma. I realize I can take a Pyro Ball, so I use this chance to set up. And he brings out Florges, which I can't really deal with, so I switch out to Scizor. I think I just Bullet Punch here. Oh no, a U-turn. So we get Necrozma back in. And then this time, since I can still take a hit, we go for Meteor Beam. So we get +1 special attack, and we do almost 40 to Florges. So at this point, I think Photon Geyser does about 60, which won't knock him out, but it is enough to out-damage Synthesis. But we do get a lucky critical hit. So we take him out and run Photon Geyser there. Cinderace comes in. I still can take 1 hit. Even like a U-turn, I think only does about half. Maybe what I should have done here is Autotomize.
Is that going to be faster than Cinderace?
And then he wouldn't really be able to do anything. But he might have been expecting that because he U-turns. And I Photon Geyser, I take out Kyurem. I think U-turn on an Autotomize, and then a Sucker Punch later might have been able to knock me out. So that might have been what he was expecting, but he is faster than me, taking out a Pyro Ball. But we did get rid of Kyurem and Florges with Necrozma. And now he's down to 2 Pyro Balls. So we bring in Landorus for the Intimidate. Switch out to Scizor, because he's not doing too much anymore now that Kyurem's down. And Cinderace and Skarmory both resist Bullet Punch. So we bring in Clefable. I heal in case he wanted to use his last Pyro Ball. We don't get flinched, so we get some stealth from himself. He defogs them away. And I think I smacked down again here. Yeah. So Cinderace is 1 hit away. If we get rocks up, that'll knock it out. And it's got 1 Pyro Ball left. So I sacrifice Virizion. He doesn't end up going for Pyro Ball, which is good on his part. Virizion wasn't going to do much against these two. Well, I did outspeed. No, I didn't outspeed Cinderace, so yeah. So Virizion goes down. I go back to Landorus, and I think I smack down here. Yeah, so now Earthquake gets a kill. And he's only got 1 Pyro Ball left. And Gunk Shot doesn't kill Landorus. He uses Pyro Ball, knocks out the Fable. And now he's forced to struggle, because he's locked in. And we knock him out with... We don't even knock him out with Earthquake. Because Struggle Recoil takes him out. So, really close game. We win game 1. And then next, we're playing Generation 6. Here's our second game, Generation 6. I was surprised when wrillix picked Generation 8 for our first game. I think people usually say advantage goes to the loser in a rematch, like how I lost our Generation game in the 8 game in the regular season. An advantage going into the rematch, since I saw what worked for him, and I can adjust based on that. And his stuff already worked, so he has less feedback to go on to improve his team. But anyway, he did pick Generation 8, and we did win. So he picked Generation 6 next. And here we go. He did bring Satō and Donphan, so Shuckle has his work cut out for him. We Nidoking. I forget who I was trying to catch with this. Maybe Metagross. Maybe I just didn't really have a good... I think I also just didn't really have a good lead. So we switch out. Gardevoir takes a hit, and we get a lucky dodge on Will-O-Wisp. We were synchronized, so if he burned us, we would have burned him. I don't know if that mattered, but we do get lucky there. And then we use our own Will-O-Wisp, expecting Metagross to come out. So we switch out here. Starmie is our answer to Metagross. He makes a nice switch out to Sceptile. And we go to Shuckle.
Physical defense circle.
Turns out Leaf Storm, Sceptile's strongest move, only does half. And then his attack is halved. So we're able to get in, take a hit, and now we're not going to Sticky Web in case Satō comes in. So we do Infestation. And now Donphan is trapped in with us. Also, I didn't realize Infestation was a contact move, but we took a little Rocky Helmet damage. So I've got leftovers, I'm healing, he's taking some damage from Infestation, and he can't switch out. So he gets up rocks, I get up webs, and I think I might go for Encore this turn. No, we Toxic first. So he keeps taking damage. And then this turn, I'm pretty sure we Encore. I was expecting him to Rapid Spin, which wouldn't do a lot of damage. I might even be able to out-heal it with leftovers. And then get Sticky Web up after he moves. but he keeps going for Earthquake. And I think I'm able to switch out this turn. Yeah, to Starmie. Take a bit from Donphan. But we recover it up. Rapid Spin, get where he gets rocks. Take a lot from Fold Switch, and Greninja's in. But he is slowed down by the Sticky Web. We get Ferrothorn. He catches that with Hidden Power Fire. For some reason, I completely forgot about Hidden Power Fire. When I was thinking about what moves Greninja would run. I was only thinking about Low Kick. But I just think at this point I decided Ferrothorn's only here for Greninja, and turns out I can't take on Greninja. So I stay in, expecting another Hidden Power Fire, but he hits Dark Pulse. So we get to survive that, no flinch, so we get a Spike Up. And then we die to the next Dark Pulse. So Gardevoir's in, it's faster than his whole team now. Donphan takes some spikes, and then Hyper Voice knocks him out. In comes Metagross. It's got Clear Body, so it doesn't get slowed down by Sticky Web, but it is slower than Nidoking and Gardevoir and Starmie already, so that's fine. It takes some spike damage. I switched to Shuckle on what I was assuming would be like a Meteor Mash, maybe. But he switches out to Rotom. And we go back to Gardevoir, taking only like 35 from Hydro Pump. Go a lot back to Rotom. And he switches out to Metagross. I didn't want a Shadow Ball in case he was Weakness Policy or the Ghost Resist, the Seed Berry, or even like an Assault Vest. So I'm going to switch out again here. And he shows Pursuit, which I had completely forgotten about. I don't know what moves I expected Metagross to run besides Earthquake, because Pursuit just completely caught me off guard. But luckily he was burned, so we survive. Yeah, and then we just let Shuckle go down here. And we bring in Nidoking, who is faster and will be able to take Metagross out. He switches to Natu, avoiding the Earth Power. We bring in Bisharp to try to pursue it, but he's got U-turn. So here's Greninja again. Bring in Starmie. Survive a hit. And I think we just Scald here. Yeah, to try to get some damage on Greninja. We get a lucky burn. Don't know if it mattered that much, but the chip is nice. And we bring in Gardevoir again. So the burn shouldn't have mattered. Hyper Voice was going to kill anyway. So at this point I was thinking about what moves Metagross might have, and I remembered Bullet Punch. So on this turn, I had to decide if I think he would go for a Pursuit or Bullet Punch. Because if I switch out and he Pursuits, then Gardevoir's dead. If I stay in and he Bullet Punches, Gardevoir's dead also. I decided he'd probably go for Bullet Punch, because he hasn't shown it yet. And he probably was expecting me to be prepared for Pursuit. So I decided to switch out on what I would assume would be Bullet Punch. And that works out. So, with the spike and the burn, Metagross is down to 1%. And we get him with a Sucker Punch. Greninja comes in. I think I just Sucker Punch here. I think I just wanted damage. Not even I wanted damage, I couldn't switch into it. And I completely forgot I was Assault Vest. I expected that to do more. I also half expected a Low Kick still. So I probably should have knocked off on that turn. But we do survive another Surf and we get Knock Off. We see that he's Expert Belt. Nice switch on Sucker Punch. I think I was expecting Will-O-Wisp there, so I probably knocked off. We've got a Nidoking. who is slower than a max speed Satō. And if it has Psychic, that would be a problem. But either he's slower than us, or he doesn't have Psychic, and he switches. Sacks Greninja to the Spike. And we are faster than Rotom, because it's not max speed, it's a bulky set, I'm sure. And we have Ice Beam to take out Satō. And that's the set. We won 2 games in a row, and we're moving on to finals. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play Gen 7, so technically I still haven't used Frostlass and Silvally. So we've got one more game next week. Finals of the losers bracket of the Ahealy Cup. We'll see if I can find space for them. I've used everyone else except those 2. So, we'll see you next week for the final game. Final set, I should say.